What's up residents, Alistair here, and I'm sure you're hyped as hell for Godzilla vs Kong next year, even with all the secrets that Warner Bros is keeping from us. But nonetheless, it's always exciting to look to the future and delve into discussions regarding our favourite giant monsters. Godzilla King of the Monsters gave us the epic brawl between titans that kaiju fans have been craving for their whole lives. And we saw Monster Zero act out more brutally than ever before, demonstrating an agility and a force never seen before from the kaiju, seen having the ability to explode in a bright display of thunder and lightning, able to push the King of the Monsters over like he's nothing, and even pick all 100,000 tons of him up and lift him through the stratosphere. He was Godzilla's greatest foe, and the two of them have a history in the lore and throughout the franchise. But what happens when we introduce two titans that were never meant to meet? The King of Skull Island and the protector of the Iwi people, Kong, going up against the three-headed devil from the stars, Monster Zero. If the sizes were evened out, could Kong hold his own? Stay with us as we discuss whether Kong could really defeat Ghidorah. Before we get into it, be sure to subscribe to Dangerville and stomp that notification button so you don't miss out on all the kaiju goodness we have coming in the future. We also have a Twitter account at Dangerville Team, so head over to our social media page to keep up to date on everything happening on the channel, as well as news as soon as we hear about it. Now, onto the video. We saw Kong's sheer strength, intellect, and ability demonstrated in Kong Skull Island. He can deal with smaller skull crawlers like they're nothing, though his power was nearly matched when the big one, also known as Ramarak, came into the picture. A larger skull crawler coming in at 95 feet tall, against Kong's 100-foot height, responsible for assisting in wiping out Kong's species. Kong struggled but single-handedly came out on top, using all sorts of tools and weapons, such as the propeller from an old battleship as a scythe, and using a tree as a baseball bat, as well as using mountains to get vantage points. He ended up coming out on top by tearing the internal organs of the skullcrawler out through its mouth. Comparatively, King Ghidorah stands at 521 feet tall, a whole 421 feet taller than Kong. So to make things fair, let's size him up a bit by making him the same height Godzilla was in King of the Monsters, 395 feet. So how does he hold up against Monster Zero? Does his intelligence really help in the fight? Well, in his defense, he can definitely dodge Ghidorah's attacks at a faster rate than Godzilla, meaning thanks to his sleeker physique, he can stay out of harm's way, at least for the most part. He would need to be, considering he would be more prone to being injured by Ghidorah's gravity beams, as his skin isn't nearly as tough and thick as Godzilla's. The force and intense heat of the gravity beams would leave him with permanent scars and scorched fur. The bigger brain would also mean he has a faster response rate when it comes to attacks. For example, he might be able to react to one of the three heads quicker. Godzilla wasn't fast enough to be able to react to Ghidorah's other heads, whilst Kong could have whacked the other heads out of the way, after learning about his method of attack. The intelligence would also mean he can pick up and use weapons on the fly to slice off Ghidorah's heads, but there is an issue with that tactic that we'll get to later. Standard items we recognize in the city would become useful to him. Trucks, billboards, radio towers, anything large that can be used against the enemy, whether it's sharp to be used like a spear, or blunt that can be used like a baseball bat. Kong's brute strength would also be an advantage, and whilst he doesn't have a ranged ability, the length of his arms would definitely help in keeping a reasonable distance in the fight. Though Kong can defend himself and hold his own fairly well, realistically he is no match for Ghidorah. The vulnerability to the gravity beams, and the fact Ghidorah can lift him up to the stratosphere or drown him, leaves him at a severe disadvantage. But the biggest advantage Ghidorah has is that he has regenerative abilities to an otherworldly extent, meaning his heads grow back. This would negate any of Kong's offenses. He could keep slicing the heads off and he would get a temporary advantage, but it would be just that, temporary. In King of the Monsters, the only way Godzilla could win was by going thermonuclear and disintegrating Ghidorah's body, leaving nothing to regenerate. Kong, as far as we know, has no such ability and therefore can never truly defeat Ghidorah. Even if Kong did have a secret super ability that we have yet to discover, it would be hidden beneath certain requirements that would need to be met in order to perform the ability. Godzilla had to be nuked from close range, overloading his radiation levels, and Mothra had to actually die to give Godzilla a way to ventilate that radiation, then giving him the ability to go thermonuclear without actually melting down and potentially killing himself. So let's say Kong gets the lightning powers that we saw in the original King Kong vs. Godzilla. They will have to be established by some external force, perhaps he is genetically mutated by Monarch using Ghidorah's DNA. Or maybe he gets a boost of radiation which transforms him to not only grow in size and be stronger, but also to have new electric powers. Who knows what they'll do, but it shows that the requirements are far too complex for it to come in handy when he would need it. Kong would certainly put up a good fight, but Ghidorah would be unlike anything he'd faced before. The 3 heads would be far too much to handle, and his neck would be snapped. So no, Kong could not defeat King Ghidorah. But I want to hear what you guys think. Do you think Kong could win? Does he have something hiding under his sleeve? Let us know in the comment section down below. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button so you don't miss out on everything Godzilla related. We're trying to get to 200,000 subscribers by the end of next week, so let's do this. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like it helps us out a lot. Share the love. I've been Alistair from Dangerville, and we'll see you in the next one.